Christmas selling doesn't start in November, it starts now. Before we get into this episode, I want to let you know there is a free resource, which is your Get Set for Christmas planner. You can head over to resilientretailclub.com/Christmas and download it today. Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan. I'm Catherine Erdly, and this podcast is here to share retail industry trends, insights, and best practices for you, the retailer who's serious about building something that lasts. The retailers who have a great Christmas aren't necessarily the ones who work the hardest in December. They're the ones who make better decisions in August, September, October, November, and December. Today, we're going to talk about how to lay the foundations. This is number one in a series of 4 podcast episodes that I'm going to be talking to you about over the next month, all about getting ready for Christmas. And what I want to talk to you about today is how you even start the process. Let's assume you haven't done so already, because after all, we are in the middle of August. But I really want to stress the importance of getting ready early. You may be planning to visit shows in September, and you definitely want to have done some prep work before that so you know what's on your shopping list. The first place that I would suggest that you start is with last Christmas. In my membership group, Resilient Retail Club, we do this exercise every January. If you didn't do it yourself in January, this is a great time to do it now. And that is to sit down and look at what actually happened in Christmas 2025. In the big retail businesses that I've worked in, we always used to do this exercise. It was called Lessons Learned and Strategy. We would do it as soon as everyone was back after their Christmas break, and we would use it to build the basis of the following year's Christmas strategy. And it's really, really beneficial because your sales data tells you so much more than your memory. You may think to yourself, actually, I think everything was fine last Christmas, but it's well worth sitting down, going through the data and really going through notes, information that you have, and looking at what it was actually like day to day in the run up to Christmas last year. We maybe have blocked out some of the most stressful bits, so we want to make sure that we're not working ourselves up over what's going to happen this year, but we're keeping our eyes open and we're putting together a really solid plan. What I suggest that you do is you take some time, maybe half an hour or an hour, and you sit down and go back over last Christmas. If you've done this exercise, you can be smug right now and you can just go pull it out of the archive that you've put it in and look through this information to refresh your memory. But if you haven't done this exercise already, then here's where I recommend that you start. I want you to go through everything that you sold last year in terms of your best sellers. So what were the products that generated most of your sales for you throughout the Christmas period? You may find it useful to break this down between October, November, and December, or you may just find it easier to look at the entire fourth quarter in one go. But make sure you go through and you look at what actually was driving the sales. And how many did you sell of them? How much cash were they taking? What percentage of your Christmas sales came from your best sellers? Work out, if you looked at the products that were generating 80% of your sales over Christmas, what were they? Make sure you've got that really clear in your mind. Also ask yourself, were there any products that surprised you, things that you had picked up that you thought for sure were going to fly off the shelves, which did not? And equally, things that you maybe were a little bit timid on that really sold out quickly. You want to make sure that you really delve into those slow sellers to not only just understand what happened, but also why it happened. Why do you think it didn't work? Was it just that you picked the wrong one and it was a good idea, you just need to look for a different supplier this year? Was it that the price point wasn't right? Did you get the wrong color? What was it about this item that people didn't like? Not, again, to beat yourself up about, but just so that you can really understand and make sure you don't make the same mistake again. And in terms of the sellouts, looking at those, what worked really, really well? What did you not have enough of? What do you wish that you could have bought twice or 3 times as many of? And again, why? Why were they so good? What was it that people really responded to? Do you think that's still relevant this year? Was it just a trend item that nobody's going to be interested in this year? Or was it something that your customer just really loves? You also want to have a think about, what did you do in terms of your marketing last year? Just to be honest with yourself. Were you happy with how it went? What could you have done more of? What could you have done less of? And what were the marketing campaigns that drove sales? What were the activities that you did which were really worthwhile? And what were the ones that you could actually probably leave? If you did in-store events, did they work really well for you? If you reached out to your best customers, did that work? or whether things that you did that were a huge amount of effort and maybe nice for a couple of posts on social media, but you don't think they're going to be needed this year. Ask yourself, if someone asked me my top 10 Christmas products, could I answer? If somebody asked me what the 3 things were that I did in my marketing last Christmas that really drove results, could I answer? Spend a bit of time with your data, spend a bit of time with your notes, spend a bit of time looking back, scroll back through your Instagram account. What were you posting on there? Look in your email marketing software. What did you actually send out over Christmas last year? Just really re-familiarize yourself with what you did and what you were happy with and what you would change. Once you've done that exercise, it will really start shifting everything into focus to help you understand what it is that you need to do in Christmas 2026. You don't want to try and improve everything all at once. You need to pick one goal. What do you want to really aim for this Christmas? And it's totally up to you what that goal is. It could be a sales number. You could say to yourself, I really want to hit X amount of money in the fourth quarter. It could be that you really want to push your average transaction value and really aim to grow that. That's also another great stat for you to check from last year to really understand what your average transaction value was. Maybe it's not about sales. Maybe based on, as we talked about last week's episode, it's not about turnover. It's about profit. So maybe you want to make sure that you're more profitable. Maybe you want to sell through old stock. Maybe you realize you've got a few boxes of Christmas stuff that you just really need to get out there. Maybe you just want January to be a little bit cleaner in terms of not have so much leftover stock left in January. You could have a lot of different elements in terms of what you actually want to achieve, but make sure you're clear on it. You might also just want to get through the months of October, November and December without succumbing to the flu at the end of it because you're so exhausted and burnt out and you can't even enjoy the Christmas season because you just have had so much going on. So everything that you do then from this point should support that goal. The other thing that I would say is really helpful is if you actually set yourself those sales goals, it means that you can have a think about your capacity planning.
This episode is brought to you by the Home and Gift Association, the new name for the Giftware Association. The home and gift industry is evolving, and so are they. The Home and Gift Association brings together brands, retailers, suppliers, and innovators across the home, gift, and stationery sectors, helping businesses make valuable connections, discover new opportunities, and stay ahead of what's happening in the industry. If you're looking to grow your retail business, they've got an exclusive offer for Resilient Retail Game Plan listeners. You can join for retail membership for just £49 until the end of the year with no joining fee, saving you £99. Membership includes networking events, retailer and buyer introductions, expert business support, industry insights, awards, promotional opportunities, and access to a fantastic community of home, gift, and lifestyle businesses. To find out more, head to homeandgiftassociation.org.uk and use the code RESILIENT49, RESILIENT49, to claim your exclusive listener offer. That's homeandgiftassociation.org.uk and the code is RESILIENT49.
The other thing that I would say is really helpful is if you actually set yourself those sales goals, it means that you can have a think about your capacity planning. Because Christmas isn't just about hitting a particular sales number, it is about can your business actually cope. Again, so many people run themselves into the ground during the fourth quarter and they just have to start the new year by saying, I just can't go through that again. I want it to be better this time. So if you're actually planning at this point and looking in the middle of August at what you're expecting to sell all the way through October, November, December, this is particularly important, by the way, if your business has been growing and you're on a growth trajectory. You want to make sure, well, what's that actually going to look like this Christmas? What numbers do I think I'm going to be taking? And can I cope with it? So if you've been trading all year up 50%, the likelihood is that may well continue into the fourth quarter. And are you ready and prepared to be 50% up on the year? You need to look through and have an idea of your staffing. Do you have enough people to physically serve these customers or send out these orders? Do you have enough supplies? Do you have enough packaging, enough bags, enough wrapping? Do you feel like your website is equipped to hold this amount of traffic? Do you feel like you've got some holiday cover? Because we all know that when one person on the team gets sick, it's like everyone gets sick at the same time. So do you have anybody who you could train up to be a floating extra pair of hands this is a great time of year to be looking for that person. Are you really clear on how much you're going to be needing to buy? What does your cash flow look like? We're going to talk about that more next week. But these are all things that you can start thinking about once you start with a sales plan, an actual sales plan for Christmas. Do you have enough storage space? Do you have enough room to actually store all of the stock that you're going to need in order to do these sales? So demand is great, sales are great. It's all really important to grow that top line, but demand that you can't fulfill is expensive and stressful. So it is well worth getting clear on that right now. So before the next episode, where we're going to be talking more about the cash flow pinch, this is what I would love for you to do. Take a few moments to review last Christmas, go over all of the key elements that we talked about, understand what your sales were, also what your sales pattern was. Because, for example, a lot of people we talk about Christmas, but really it's going to be after Black Friday, that last week of November into Christmas, that people really see their sales spike. So you want to get clear on that so you're not stressing out in October if sales are always typically low in that month. Make sure you set yourself one really clear Christmas goal, whether that's a turnover related or whether that is to do with how you want the Christmas season to feel. Make sure that you set some clear sales goals as well so that you can actually put together a plan and identify any bottlenecks that you can foresee. Do you have the capacity, the space, the products, the supplies, and the people to actually achieve what you want to achieve at Christmas? So now we've decided where you're heading. We're going to be talking in the next episode about making sure that you've got the cash flow to get you there. And as I said at the beginning of this episode, if you head to resilientretailclub.com/Christmas, you can get your hands on your free downloadable planner that will help you have the best Christmas yet in 2026. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.